So there's some rumours that potential changes might be coming to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland and Walt Disney World for later on this year. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to dive into all of that up next. This video is sponsored by Mickey Travels, a platinum level authorised Disney vacation planner which can take the hassle out of all of your vacation planning. So visit the link in the description box to get your free quote today. Hi there Waltoners, I'm Jack and this is of course DSNY Newscast, and let's get straight into it. As when the first Star Wars Galaxy's Edge opened on May 31st, 2019 at Disneyland, it aimed to ambitiously pioneer a new type of themed entertainment experience. One in which that you would forget that you were within a theme park and would be transported to a living, breathing outpost on the very edge of the galaxy. And for the most part it made huge steps toward this end goal, with hyper-detailed environments, atmospheric soundscapes, and a layered backstory throughout the entire land. However, Walt Disney Imagineering has repeatedly stated that Galaxy's Edge will not be a closed project, but instead it will continue to evolve and change over time, which will see some tweaks and new additions to the initial formula that it launched with. And so that brings us to the reliable insider WDW Pro, who's a user on the WDW Magic forums, that outlines that we should be expecting to see some of these changes begin showing up later this year, with apparently the most certain out of all of these changes being that the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run attraction is soon to get the go-ahead for the creation of a replacement main mission. And here's the really big thing, as it will supposedly feature some form of integration with the Mandalorian series streaming on Disney+. But before we go any further, I just want to clarify that obviously this hasn't been confirmed by Disney as of yet, as it's just a rumour, but it does hold quite a lot of credibility, so let's analyse it in full. Now, when the Millennium Falcon attraction was in development, we had heard many times that there would be 3 mission scenarios, all featuring some variation of a tie-in with Solo, a Star Wars story that was released in 2018. Now, there's only ever been one mission that we've been able to experience, which centres around trying to attain coaxium from a train, which is inspired by the train heist scene from Solo. Then the second mission would have involved a race on the planet of Corellia, which was the planet that was shown at the beginning of the Solo movie. And then the third mission would have been encountering and escaping the Maw creature from Solo, which we even received some concept art for in late 2017. But then after Solo dramatically underperformed at the box office, and the main ride missions proved to be much harder and more complex to program than expected, the decision for what the other missions should entail was then put on hold. And in addition to this, the fact that Galaxy's Edge opened in phases meant that the Millennium Falcon attraction had to meet and surpass guests' expectations all by itself, which was very difficult to do because Rise of the Resistance and the Millennium Falcon were designed to act as a sort of counterbalance to one another, with Rise of the Resistance being an ultra-immersive, technologically advanced classic dark ride that was kind of a main attraction, and then the Millennium Falcon offered a lot of nostalgia mixed with re-rideability and interactivity. However, where the Millennium Falcon attraction excels is the huge capacity that it can handle as a people eater for the land, as Rise of the Resistance has created some huge buzz for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, but it is failing to meet the operational goal of around 1,700 guests per hour. So with more guests experiencing Smuggler's Run, it's said that executives are aware that they need to improve the ride for better guest reactions. And apparently the clear answer to this is to lean toward the huge success of Mandalorian and the overwhelming pop culture phenomenon that is Baby Yoda, or otherwise named as the Child. But exactly how Imagineering will be able to integrate the Mandalorian is going to be difficult, as not many guests are aware of this, but the land is meant to be set in between the events of The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, whereas the Mandalorian takes place just after Return of the Jedi. So it serves up an interesting dilemma, as keeping the land fixed within the canon of Star Wars handcuffs the creativity of the Imagineers, especially as the land evolves. So perhaps we're about to see a loosening of the exact timeline for Galaxy's Edge, so that we can encounter the Mandalorian's Razor Crest ship on a mission, and maybe get an incoming transmission from the Mandalorian and a cameo by Baby Yoda as well. But of course, that's just me guessing at a basic integration of what they could do with the Millennium Falcon Mandalorian and The Mandalorian. But from what the insider WDW Pro has said, there have been concepts and storyboards already in development for how they could integrate The Mandalorian in some way. Now that's not all in terms of potential changes for Galaxy's Edge, as there has been one critique that has bubbled up repeatedly time after time. And that is the lack of droids and alien species that was shown within the concept art and mentioned by Imagineering countless times over the years. And so it seems that the first step is to integrate some more well-known characters, as the guest interaction reviews for Chewie and the Stormtroopers has been extremely high. But unsurprisingly, the one character that was exclusively created for Galaxy's Edge, Vi Moradi, has scored much lower. So according to insiders, in addition to the rollout of R2-D2, which happened around 2 weeks ago at Disneyland and at Walt Disney World as well, C-3PO is meant to be joining R2-D2 to begin meeting and greeting guests as soon as May within Galaxy's Edge. But as mentioned earlier, additional further efforts are to be made for connective elements to the Mandalorian throughout the rest of the land. Now personally, I think that if Disney are going to begin to phase out the fixed timeline idea, then some sort of Mandalorian meet and greet and an adorable animatronic baby Yoda would obviously be extremely popular. But if Disney want to maintain the timeline's integrity for the time being, then perhaps a meet and greet at Star Wars Launch Bay would be a much better location, using a similar setup to that of Star-Lord and Baby Groot. However, we also know that walk-around versions of the Hondo Ohnaka character have been created and was heavily featured within the opening ceremony at Walt Disney World, and also some head sculpts were completed for the character of Harkos, who was teased at D23 Expo in 2017 as being a bounty hunter who would make appearances within the cantina. So it certainly seems that with the amazing response that Rise of Resistance is currently getting, that we're most likely going to see the entertainment aspect arrive back in Black Spire Outpost, and maybe even see some form of fully autonomous droids roll out eventually, like J4K3 or Jake, that was featured toward the end of episode 6 of the Imagineering story on Disney+. And then lastly for today, this next thing won't be happening anytime soon, but I still feel it's worth mentioning, and that is the possible expansion of Galaxy's Edge one day in the future, as apparently it's this location here that's currently being reserved in both Disneyland and Walt Disney World's versions of Galaxy's Edge for a potential expansion some point in the future. But at the moment there have only been very early talks about potentially including some sort of roller coaster thrill type of experience in Disneyland's version of Galaxy's Edge, as the logic is that it would offer yet another variety of attraction different to Rise of Resistance and the Millennium Falcon, and it would be guaranteed to be extremely popular and easy to market. But of course, if this is to happen, it won't be for another 5 to 6 years at the earliest. Although, it is something interesting to think about. But now, it's over to you, Walterners, as I would like to know, number one, what do you think about this potential rumour of the Mandalorian being somewhat integrated into Galaxy's Edge? Does it make sense? Or do you have different ideas for how to make the Millennium Falcon attraction even better? And also, if you could change or add anything else about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, then what would it be and why? And of course, don't forget to put the timestamp for where the hidden Mickey appeared somewhere in this video, along with your suggestion or your comment, to be with a chance to win one of these exclusive Star Wars Galaxy's Edge inspired DSNY Newscast pins. And congratulations to this Walter here for this suggestion from the previous video where we're talking all about the theming beginning in the Avengers campus at Disney California Adventure. And so that's it for today, so be sure to go ahead and subscribe down below if you're new to this channel, hit that notification icon so therefore you always receive an update whenever I release new videos, which is usually twice a week on a Tuesday and a Thursday. And also, if you've enjoyed today's video all about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, I know I have, be sure to give this video a massive thumbs up as it really does help this channel out. And I've been Jack, you've been you, and I'll see you real soon.